biggest non-physical benefit of CrossFit. I suppose what I wanted to do is just touch on the reality that we see people come into CrossFit affiliates and train, and we watch them change physically. We watch their health markers and their fitness markers change, and you can see physical change to their body. But also you do watch them become different people at the affiliate, and that's super rewarding as a coach. And I wanted to dive into a little bit of why I believe that happens, and it is as per all the things we discuss in this series. It's rooted in the programming and the philosophy of CrossFit. So let's get stuck in, and I can talk to you about what I feel, or where I feel the biggest non-physical benefit comes from. We're going to start with another Greg Glassman quote. So if you didn't watch last week, Greg Glassman is the founder of CrossFit. We fail at the margins of our experience. Greg's a lot more eloquent than I am. What does that translate to? You won't be very good at the things you don't do. I think that's a pretty reasonable thing to say. And CrossFit, I suppose, made these words come to life. Like, everyone would agree, you're not very good at the things you don't do. Like, I've never flown a plane before, so I'm not very good at flying a plane. And that sounds obvious, but in CrossFit, what we had is these people come into us with physical capacity, and then they tried to do things with their physical capacity that they'd never done before, and they failed because they were trying things outside the margins of their experience. That looks something like this. I know this is really simple, but if this is the stuff you practice, there's stuff outside here that you've never done before, and CrossFit really exposes what's inside and outside people's circle. So if you were training pre-CrossFit, and this is very much what my training regimen looked like pre-CrossFit, I ran slow, I ran long but slow, I lifted in an isolated fashion, and I normally did 3 sets of 10. And because of that, there was all this cool stuff outside my circle. And if you asked me to do it, I looked, I suppose, like I'd never trained before. I've got Olympic lifting over there, full body gymnastics, short intense efforts, running with stuff, and a 1 rep max. And obviously this is not an exhaustive list, both in and outside of the circle, but hopefully you're getting the point. CrossFit exposed me to a world of stuff that I hadn't done before, and it does that to everybody, irrespective of who you are. Post-CrossFit, what I'd like to think people will experience is that their circle gets bigger. It's more of an oval now, isn't it? But the graphic still holds true, even though it's not to scale. And now those things that were outside the circle are now inside the circle. So you can do all the things from before, but now you can do the things that were outside the circle because CrossFit has exposed them to you. This really is the benefit of variance. It broadens the margins of one's experience. So far you might be like, hey, I thought we were going to talk about the non-physical benefits of CrossFit, and we're getting there, but I want us to understand again that my logic behind why I want to discuss those non-physical benefits is rooted in the program. And one of the cornerstones of the program is variance, so it's really important that we understand how that plays out. So benefit number 1, the margins of your experience become broader through variance. Okay, that's not really a non-physical benefit yet, or not an obvious one, but I'm going somewhere, I promise. No matter how complete your circle is, no matter how big your circle is, and this is the biggest circle we've seen in this presentation, there will always be stuff on the outside. That's just the reality. If we take the most complete athlete that we've ever seen, I'm not interested in getting a debate about who the best CrossFitters of all time is, although maybe that's another video. But you put your best CrossFitter here, there's still stuff outside. Doesn't matter who they are. There's going to be stuff that they haven't been exposed to. So if this is pre-CrossFit, post-CrossFit still has stuff outside the circle. This is the person post-CrossFit. And I've just come up with some examples. Again, it's not an exhaustive list, but perhaps they've added Olympic lifting and full body gymnastics, and now there's some stuff that they haven't still seen. Long swimming and playing football. By the way, I'm not saying that CrossFit doesn't include long swimming. I'm just saying that as a CrossFitters, as an individual, are going to have things, each individual, that are outside their circle. So benefit number 2. This is where we start to talk about the non-physical benefits a little bit more. The bigger your circle becomes, a la the last slide, the better you handle the inevitable reality that you'll be asked to step outside the circle at some point. Remember, I just told you everyone's going to have something outside the circle. Doesn't mean if you're pre-CrossFit, post-CrossFit, the best CrossFitter in the world, there's always stuff outside your circle. So, benefit number 2 leads to benefit number 3. You not only don't fear what is outside of the circle, you begin to realize this is where the magic happens. This is where we start talking a little bit more about the non-physical benefits of CrossFit. If I can go back a few slides, the pre-CrossFit person, and I'm speaking in generalities here, if this is their world, we tend to see that the stuff outside of their world is really confronting to them. It's a little bit too much to ask them to just come in and explore what's outside their circles. And often people who have got lots of confidence inside their circle come and try CrossFit and they're really blown away, and it tears them up a little bit as to the things that they can't do because they're outside their circle. After CrossFit, the people that have expanded this circle, what's outside their circle is still arguably as challenging to them, at least on a physical level, as this stuff was to the pre-CrossFitter, but there's a different mindset. There's a mindset due to the experience that they've had previously that, hey, do you know what? I haven't done that thing before, but I'm willing to give it a go. And I'm actually willing to suck at it, and it's okay to suck at it because I've had that experience of sucking at it and then I got better. And the only way that I get better is by actually doing it. And thus leading me to benefit number 3 that I just discussed. You not only don't fear what is outside of your circle, you begin to realize this is where the magic happens. So I gave you the post-CrossFit person in terms of physical tasks, and this is where I would like to come to, I suppose, my grand conclusion, if you will. Benefit number 4. This begins to transfer into how you approach challenges in day-to-day life. So we saw the post-CrossFit person with the physical challenges that they might get confronted with. This is the post-CrossFit person getting challenged in just day-to-day activities, and something about the way that they've been challenged in the CrossFit affiliate environment changes how they take on challenges outside the CrossFit affiliate environment, or outside of CrossFit, I should say, because there's plenty of people doing CrossFit that aren't affiliates. And you know, this is a very basic visual, but I'm hoping you pick up what I'm putting down. If we have margins of experience in the CrossFit programming environment, we have margins of experience in any environment. Just think about, you know, what you might experience day to day. The margins of experience are normally the same old places. So for me, it's home, it's the gym, it's the park where I walk my dog. Tasks at work that I'm comfortable with, checking my emails, you know, calling new interests, always hanging out with the same people. I spend like huge amounts of time, obviously, with my wife, who I live with, and my coaches, and a few other select people, and then hobbies that I've had all my life. You know, CrossFit is a hobby I've had all my life. I love some other sports. There's some other stuff that I do around music that I really enjoy. This is my world. CrossFit has made me see that things outside the circle are not only worth exploring, that's how I grow as a person. Because that's how I grew as an athlete, and that's how I would grow as a person. So trying new hobbies is something that I think CrossFit shows you is really valuable. Even, you know, doing things like moving locations and getting exposed to a new environment. I learned that sort of level of uncomfortableness of like, oh, this is a new place. I learned that that's actually a good challenge and helps me grow from CrossFit. Changing careers, meeting new people. And, you know, I just put something down here which a lot of people fear, but probably know is good for them or a good skill to try and attack, and that is public speaking. I suppose, hopefully what you're seeing is that this idea that there are experiences beyond what you've currently already had, and that getting exposed to them will help you grow, is a message which is ingrained in CrossFit programming from the very start. And that to me is the biggest non-physical benefit of CrossFit. Now, there's going to be other things that people will talk about, are like, no, this is the biggest non-physical benefit of CrossFit. And I think the one that probably comes to mind is the community. And I would wholeheartedly agree that the community in CrossFit is unbelievable. I still believe, though, that the power of the community stems from this. And here's why. And I hope you don't feel like this is too long a bow to draw. But in order for there to be this community in CrossFit, people have to meet new people. By definition, you have to go meet people who are outside your circle. And what I've noticed, which is really unbelievable about the CrossFit community, is that people begin to make friends with people who they normally wouldn't make friends with. So not only are they meeting new people, they're meeting new types of people well outside the margins of their experience. Now, there are lots of other unbelievable communities in the world, but for a lot of them, you're just getting exposed to the same type of person. I've been involved in other communities that were incredible, but really all I was meeting is the same type of person that I've always met. I'm thinking of like a football club environment. They're great environments, but you effectively just meet other people that are similar to you. In the CrossFit environment, you get exposed to all sorts, and that's what I believe makes the community so special. It's the quality of people in there, and it's the fact that everybody is sort of experiencing this, hey, I'm stepping outside of my quote unquote comfort zone or the margins of my experience. And that works on an individual level to help people grow. And it also works on a community level to help people be willing to explore new connections, new relationships, new hobbies, and whatnot. Okay, that's the end of Coach's Thoughts Week 4. Hope you enjoyed.